Hey gang, Hammersill here. As you can see, I am playing the Tier 8 Richelieu, and top tier in this game, which is always a beautiful thing. Looking up at the enemy lineup, we've got Hatsuharu, Mahan, and Akazuki are torpedo threats. Akazuki, of course, is also a fantastic gunboat. And while there is an enemy CV, it's a Tier 6 CV. Now, that's not to say that they can't do any damage, because of course they can, but it does mean that even the, well, what I consider pitiful, I'll get back to that in a second. I'm just checking to see who's got camo and who doesn't, because very often that's sign 1 to indicate someone's experience and or skill level in the game. So what I was saying is that while the enemy Furious can certainly do some damage, even with the terrible state of AA as it stands in the game right now, or what I consider a terrible state of AA, I should be okay as long as I keep moving and am able to maneuver. So I'm going to move up to support Le Fantasque. Now, Le Fantasque, it doesn't have smoke, so it's risky for a French DD to push in. Oh, come on, Pensacola. You know you want to show broadside. Yeah, you want to tempt fate. A little too much of a lead. It's alright. Maybe I'll get another shot. This location, at least for the time being, offers some protection against torpedoes. So I'm not going to be able to shoot here. But if he stays visible, I can catch him on the other side of the island. He's not changing his angle at all. So yeah, I'm going to lose a lot of shells to the island here, but definitely worth taking the shot. And it paid off. Okay, so now, time to focus on Normandy a little bit. You can see there's an enemy Mahan on the outside. We've got our Trento out there to try and help with him. Le Fantasque and Trento can work over that Mahan. We've got our Nuremberg back here. And Nuremberg is, at least in my opinion, a really nice HE spammer. So, I'm hoping that the three of them can finish off that Mahan. They do, but Trento goes down to Mahan torpedoes. So we trade a cruiser for a destroyer. Now the guns on the Richelieu are not great at smacking around battleships that are nose in like that. Really what I look for in Richelieu is broadsides as much as possible. And now I know that I'm going to be facing some HE spam here. Oh, Otago showing broadside. Now Otago can wiggle fairly well. I'm already starting to turn, so my shells probably are going to fall outside of that turn. A ricochet. Huh. Well, it gets back to the caliber of these guns. They're just really, for a Tier 8 battleship, they're just really not that big. You know, think Bismarck, if you're not familiar. Great against cruisers, not as great against battleships. Especially angled battleships. So I give some thought to changing to HE here, but because there's a cruiser cruising around up there. I hopped to in our Le Fantasque. That just, he knew the Otago was coming, and he just sat there too long. We're down 3 ships. Bad guys are down 2. We lost Baltimore, Trento, and Le Fantasque. They've lost Pensacola and Mahan, although they do have a Pensacola that is almost dead. They have a little bit of a point lead at this point because we've lost an additional ship. Normandy decided to push in here. I'm not sure exactly why. It's got myself, Colorado, and Nuremberg all focusing him at this point. Trying to aim high enough for the shells to land on the decks. And I'm just not having much luck. So, it's time to push in. There's probably a DD out this way. Yeah, there's that Pensacola I was talking about. He's not long for this world. I was trying to ping him, but the aircraft were in the way. It's something that happens with irritating regularity. So you can see the Colorado that's kind of off on my port side there behind me. And he finishes off that Normandy, so I'm just about at full speed here. And again, I'm expecting a DD, so I want to be able to use this island. Now, if you've never played the French battleship line and you're unfamiliar with Richelieu, it's I think it's a lot of fun. The next tier up, you've got essentially the same guns, but you have a rear turret. On the Richelieu, it's all on the forward side of the ship. So you've got 8 barrels and 2 turrets for each turret. And their DD, I'm sure, is going to try and snag this cap. And I'm hoping to surprise him here. Maybe I can draw out torpedoes and use the island as cover. Yeah, there he is. So you'll see I'm going to come to port. Probably should have loaded HE there. And I've also got a Otago on the outside, trying to do what he can do. But I've avoided the torpedoes. Just kind of go nose in here to the island and start moving back. Now, I normally wouldn't have repaired, but my thinking was I'm going to have cover here in a second, and I've got, 10 seconds before they can start another fire anyway. And he keeps firing, which means our Nuremberg can spot him and hit him. Now I've gone dark, so I'm just thinking things over. What's Otago doing? Is Otago going to go all the way around the south? Yeah, there he is. So I'm going to sit here long enough to try and paste the Otago, because our Nuremberg is not in very good shape. And if I'm able to finish off the Otago, then I can push around that corner and see what damage I can do out there, because it's just the Akazuki and that Monarch, and I think I could probably handle those guys. Yeah, that looks good. That's nice dispersion. That's going to hurt. So, scratch 1 Otago. And now it's time to move forward, get in that cap, help the Gnevny secure that cap, and do what I can to finish off a Monarch up there. And I may have, by the time I get around this corner here, I may have torpedoes to contend with again in the form of the Akazuki, but honestly I'm more concerned about HE spam from the Akazuki. Now we've got, yeah, there he is. We've got significant points lead, but each team's lost 5 ships. We do have a cap advantage, and if we're able to secure this, that will only get better. Our Gnevny, he's taking a beating here. He's really the only thing left for the bad guys to shoot until I poke my nose around the corner. I'm going to play with the throttle here a little bit to potentially draw out some torps. But at some point I'm going to have to push around this corner. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for Monarch, who appears to be coming hard to starboard. And if Akazuki hasn't already thrown torpedoes, he can't now because Monarch's in the way, so this is my chance. I'm going to hit the speed boost. I want to try and get my guns to bear before Monarch changes his angle significantly. Just trying to clear this little island edge here. No Citadel, but 17k damage. I'll take that. I really should switch secondaries to the DD, help try and finish him off. And I've got to get rid of him before I eat a face full of torpedoes. You can see I'm accelerating forward. That's gonna take care of him.
Destroyer ennemi coulé. Alerte incendie.
Just brought the nose to starboard a little bit, avoided the torpedoes. That's something I encourage, my teammates a lot of times, especially with newer players. See a DD, you know he's got torps ready. Keep your nose to the DD if you can. Sometimes it's better to eat a torpedo or two than to show broadside to an enemy battleship. But in that case, I didn't have that worry as much. And both of them were at one point kind of in the same line, and by that I mean one was heading one way, one was heading the other, and so for a little while they were both kind of on the same heading relative to my ship. Now I thought here about getting back in the cap and going around to the south where I've got friendlies, and what I've decided is that no, I'm going to take advantage of the speed boost to reposition here, and I'm going to try and catch them unaware. I was hoping that the enemy CV, who's been kind of focused elsewhere for a little while, might... Now see, I'm detected. And that tells me that the CV is over here somewhere on this north side. Now, you can see the circle, my detection range, but yeah, missed completely there. But they know where I'm at now. I'm just going to try and get another shot on Scharnhorst here. He's changing his angle a bit. There we go, flatten that angle out. You can see where the planes are coming from. Now that tells me more or less the line that the CV is probably on. So I'm just going to keep moving this direction. I don't want to present a straight-on profile to bombers. There's the Furious. I want to try and angle a little bit to make it a little bit more difficult for his mobs to land on my decks. And I've caught the Furious napping. And I really made him pay for that. And now I'm just going to push right at him. And I don't think that a Furious has much chance here of finishing me off before I finish him off. He hasn't even started moving yet. He is completely focused on dropping these bombs, which all missed. Now he's starting to move. And dispersion did not offer me much kindness on that volley. But that's alright. I'm going to get another one here in 8 seconds. And I think I can probably finish him off.
Avion ennemi détruit.
So he's gone. Scharnhorst goes down to our Furious. Got some torpedoes to contend with here. I do have a repair if necessary.
La bataille se termine dans 5 minutes.
And you can see I've switched to HE. Try and go to work on the Hatsuharu. I did use the repair. It's arguable about whether I should have hung on to that in case I get another torpedo hit and start flooding, but I'll have a heal back up here shortly. And now, I will admit, I'm thinking, will I be able to land a Kraken? A little bit of torpedo beats here. And there he is. Well, the writing's on the wall. This was a fun game, but we can see how this is going to end. Thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.
On a coulé un destroyer ennemi.